Okay, well, we can get started today's session. We starting a new topic called model transfer or model import functionality in DataSphere. Um, and this is totally completely new from what we were discussing for few weeks about business data cloud, delta lakes, and lake houses. We are almost coming back to the core DataSphere concepts from today again. So with that. We'll understand the concept first for model transfer, and then we will take a connection setup and then create some remote tables using model transfer. So you can start with some documentation here. So look at this picture here from the model transfer. Model transfer basically going to help you to transfer your semantics from the source system object to the datasphere objects. So you got defined some associations, attributes, define some semantics for currencies, currency codes, and currency. There could be many semantics that you can define for each field in the object in S4 HANA serious views as well as BW4 HANA or BW on HANA objects. So though when you are unable to create the or fully migrate BW system or S4 HANA system within DataSphere and you wanted to retain whatever the developments that you have got in the source systems in and leverage them in DataSphere, then that's when you go for DataSphere model transfer. This model transfer, you had several options on the screen. You can see this is if you're running on BW. This used to be the old picture. So you got BW Bridge currently or at the time, but now you have BWPC if you are really making your path to cloud. And then the other side, your DataSphere core tenant, where you will have model transfer. Option A is model transfer. You're not really doing any migration to BW Bridge or BW private cloud. You're simply doing a model transfer or model import to the DataSphere. And then the respective objects that you use in the model transfer will be created in the DataSphere core tenant um, in a space. You can also do it from S4HANA, cloud or on-premise. That is a second option. So model transfer is looked at in the context of S4 HANA as the source and also BW4 HANA as the source. In S4 HANA, it could be either cloud or on-premise, both options. You do have model transfer from BW Bridge. Again, we are not really interested in understanding the model transfer from BW Bridge because it's not really a useful option. So you have model transfer for today's session on BW as well as S4 HANA. This is about data transfer. This is what generally we do for SAP and non-SAP sources to integrate the data and do the data loading into the tables directly. This is not a model transfer. So only these two are the model transfers. So A and D are really, we don't want to go through this route, but A and D are the real EU topics for today's session. We can simply start with BW first, but the exercise that we're going to do it for as for HANA, but it is going to be really very similar or more 90% same, a little more, I wouldn't call little more, but slightly different at one service activation. So, but otherwise the concept is very similar from BW to S4 HANA or BW or S4 HANA. So the objective, and then you got your BW objects like queries, composite products, data store objects. With model transfer, you will be able to create respective objects like analytic models, views, and remote tables in the DataSphere system. You can compare to see, we'll come back to the connection. You can compare to see what objects make what corresponding objects in the DataSphere system. For example, if you're in an info object, master data, let's go to the remote table, text, remote table, info object, again, view, and then text, again, view. We don't really worry about business builder. We are really focusing only on the data builder. So back composite provider will get to remote table again. Uh, this is also again remote view. This is going to be a view graphical view, and queries or PEX queries or BW queries with all the restricted key figures, calculated key figures, and etc. Will change the analytic model. You can understand that the most of the functionalities are available in an analytic model, the query functionalities. There are some limitations or some functionalities not there yet, like structures and etc. In case if they are your source is having such kind of functionalities, your model transfer is going to fail, and then you will be left out with the options that are only possible in the DataSphere. Then in these cases, you will have to manually adjust or have the workarounds created. So this is only supported for the features that are supported in DataSphere. If the feature is not available in DataSphere, you're going to miss that, and you'll have to manually adjust in DataSphere later. So that is but it is getting improved as in when as in every release they are trying to get every possible query properties of BW will be made available in analytic models. You would have seen that by now. This is about BW model transfer from BW4 HANA. So you can also take a look at it. What are the equivalent objects? Not exactly, but more or less same. For graphical views and task chains, process chains will become task chains, and local tables are DSOs, and transformation flows will take care of transformations and DTPs together. Very similarities you can identify from remote table to data source and etc. Um, there is a small 2 minutes video that we can play on how does the import query works in DataSphere. We're going to start with that in a minute or a couple of minutes, and then go through the reference blocks and etc. for this one. This is pretty straightforward and simple. Let's play this workbook, and then we'll have to go and set up the system after. So I'm going to simply play. It's in the learning.sap.com. I've got most of the information taken from learning.sap. So if you look at the creating um, and importing a query. So first you create a BW4 model transfer connection. We're going to do that for S4 HANA, but the steps are exactly same. Once you have that, um, we will go to semantic onboarding and set up the connectivity. We will be doing this as well. Once you have the connectivity set up, everything done, then that's when you go and start import a query. So just take a look at this one is like a 3 minutes one, but what you do is just take the query in the and then just come here, semantic onboarding, and then just come to BW4 and then select your analytical query. Yeah, and that's it. So you're just basically doing simple one step. Yeah, yeah, this is already deployment is started. That's why you're saying. So here you can see that this is the query. You can, and then, yeah, that's it. So you just establish the connection, and then you'll be able to see all those objects that are available for import and deployment. You can choose the object. Could it be a query? Could it be a DSO or composite provider? So you choose those objects or choose the query, and all the dependent objects you will be able to see here ready to import dependent entities of that query, and then import and deploy. That's it, one step. And then as soon as you finish the deployment in the DataSphere space, you can see the respective remote tables and every analytic models, graphical views and all deployed, and then you can see those objects in the system. If the query has restricted key figures and everything, you will have to see, you can see those ones as well. It's pretty simple. So it's pretty simple, right? So you establish a connection, a live tunnel connection, and go to the semantic onboarding, and then select the model that you wanted to transfer to DataSphere. Select that model, and then start importing. And then you will see that as the end of the import process, you will see respective objects being created in DataSphere. They are all virtual, and there is no direct data transfer to the DataSphere. And then you will be able to report on those analytic models directly in DataSphere, even though they are created in BW system. This is what BW data model transfer. Um, so we've come back to the questions after we go through the setup process in the system. So let's start with the setup process for, it is going to be the same for S/4HANA as well. So you got S/4HANA model transfer. So what we're going to have, we have several CDS views in S/4HANA system, and instead of we integrate them and load them uh, into the data space system as local tables, we will try to get the metadata and the CSN core data service notations formats into DataSphere. It's the configuration is little bit difficult compared to the previous connectivity. Um, and even compared to the BW4 model transfer, S4 HANA model transfer is little bit difficult. But this is one times configuration, so you don't have to do it multiple every time. But this is going to take a little bit of complexity for setup. Um, let's do that. So what we're going to do, we create a connection to the data sphere from S4 HANA on-premise system in this case, and then we import the entities using semantic onboarding, same like what we saw it in BW demo. And then we have an option to load the data as well in the recent releases. But there are challenges in doing it, but it can be done. In case if we were able to resolve all the S4 HANA system errors, configurations are properly done in S4HANA, we can do not only remote table but also data loading with semantics into DataSphere from S4HANA. So we'll start with the configuration. So if you look at this one, the same thing. You got table CDS views and associated CDS views, which defines the metadata for CDS view. And using model transfer, you can choose to have a remote table or a replication flow. So the setup is more complicated for replication flow to be working. But let's try how far we can go. So as I said, we have two options. Until Feb 2025, we just have remote tables, but from March 2025, we got replication flow as well, and it becomes the default value. So we will start with creating a model import connection. This is not a regular mode as for a regular connection that what we used to do in the past. So there is a little more additional steps required. We'll do that. So there are 4 steps involved, and we need a live tunnel connection and a cloud connector connectivity with HTTPS protocol, and then DP agent is also required, and then S4 HANA cloud connection with cloud connector and DP agent. Together, we create a final connection. So basically, every time we were just using either cloud connector or DP agent, but or one of them or both, but it's optional. But for modal transfer, it is mandatory to have these two together. Otherwise, if you don't have this one, even the modal transfer option itself is not going to be enabled in the connection setup. So start with the setup steps. So there is a live tunnel connection is required in DataSphere. The first one is to have a live tunnel connection. See, this is very similar to your SAC live tunnel connection to the source system. So what we're going to do is going to be the same thing. You know, what are the steps to create a live tunnel connection in SAC is what we are going to do now. Before we start it, so you're always going to come here and live data connection and then start creating a live connection. But before creating a live connection, you must be doing one thing, which is going to be administration. Allow live data securely leave my network. This is the same configuration that is in SAC. You will be doing the same toggle here. If you don't do this, if you don't toggle this one, you wouldn't be able to see the tunnel connection. So for example, if you come to the configuration and come to manage data live connection, um, it is going to happen in the same way for SAC also. It's not something new that we are doing it in SAC. When you try to do a live connection for S4HANA, you don't see an option for tunnel unless you see leave my network option toggle or enable there. Direct is reverse proxy. You have some benefits and you have some limitations, but it's not uh, the best practice to use direct connectivity with a reverse proxy. That probably you would have known in SAC's times. By this time, almost every connection is not the direct reverse course connectivity, but it is tunnel connection. If you want it, I will send. I attached the required documentation that you wanted to understand the difference between CORS, reverse proxy, and tunnel difference. And having tunnel with a secure channel to open from cloud connector is the best choice, or for different, especially you're on VPN. Um, you, you don't have to be on VPN for this. Especially many SAC users, they will not be they're not going to be on VPNs, and securely connecting to the source system and get the data. Don't Not to worry about the protocols and firewalls by trusting the cloud connector. So the source system, which is very secure, in this case S4 HANA, will not be exposed to any of the public cloud systems. You will take care of everything in the cloud connector area. That's what we did in the very initial stages. And cloud connector will act as a tunnel for you to establish the connection to your public cloud system. So basically, you're not exposing your security to the external public network. You are restricting to the cloud connector, which is going to act as a secure tunnel for you. That's what pretty much in infrastructure firewall. But yeah, that is a better way. So since the tunnel or the cloud connector is already in there, you can trust it, and you don't have to be on VPN for getting the access to your source system through the S4 HANA system. Even though you're working on S4 HANA system, you're accessing S4, sorry, even though you're using DataSphere or SAC public cloud systems with VPN or without VPN, but indirectly you're accessing your S4 HANA system, which is really not recommended without having a VPN. But many users wanted to have it without VPN, and that's when the cloud connector came, and then secure channel is open. It's more administration. If you wanted to know, I can send administrator related documentation versus on why VPN, why users can access backend systems without using VPN because of the secure tunnel connection open with cloud connector. And that's what we're going to do, tunnel connection. Um, so you don't have to be on VPN if you choose tunnel. And then location ID, I given as a cloud connector. You can have the location ID is not just a cloud connector. You can say something else. Location ID is your SAC or data sphere location in the administration. You just and then host is what your respective source system host. This is my host, and then port is HTTPS is 443 and 21 for live connectivity, and then client 800. And then authentication method, you got both options is a SAML sign. I didn't have SAML setup, so I'm going to use my user password. Um, Password, and then you can save it for every other users in the system. It's same, I think you would have seen in SAC this one. Say okay. Did I give a name? Okay, I didn't give a name. As for import live, actually transfer, as for transfer live. Okay, and say the S4 transfer tunnel, and then say okay. So the first important step is been configured. So you got a tunnel, and this is really needed when you're creating a regular connection for to S4 HANA, saying that I have a tunnel connection. I'm going to give this tunnel connection name when I'm creating a new connection. Let's take a look at that. So you would have done these steps many, many times at least. So we are doing it again. Not in the data builder, but in the space management. Space management connections on our data build. Sorry, connections. Choose your space. You can create a new connection. This time it is going to be S4 HANA again. I think S forward slash. We are connecting to S4 HANA on premise. We've done this one step before, but what was different every time when we creating a more a connection, we always get modal import is disabled, and that's when we used to see empty, but now I see something else. So it's just that we created S4 transfer, and then now it's going to get enabled after I creating some parameters. Let's say application server s4 dev.sd.com, system number 21, I guess, client 800, um, system ID S4D. We have all this information when we created the other connection, so you can grab it from other connection that we set up before. Use cloud connector, yes I do. A location I put it in cloud connector, and then get the virtual host and port. Yes, of course I will get username and password. Data provisioning, yes, we do need a data provisioning, yes, right? DP agent, and then select the DSP DP agent. Streaming, I don't need streaming. Now you see everything is enabled. So if you try to do without this one, is going to disable. So model transfer request live data connection tunnel working. Now this is how you create a connection. Next step, anything else that we are missing? No. So we're going to leave this one extractors additional deviation properties. Next step, give it as for HANA model import, right? This is the connection or model transfer you can call, whatever, create a connection. So if it has a problem, of course we may have some problems, then it is going to give an error. And then you'll have to resolve all the errors while creating a connection, because this is not a simple direct connection to S4 HANA on-premise like the one that we created before to use replication flows. We are not going to create replication flows, right? The previous S4 HANA on-premise connection is for just replication flows and data flows. But now we created a model transfer. This is different from the above one. So we check that the validation is okay, right? Oh no, we didn't check this yet. Let me do the validation to see all the four objects are enabled, and then we will be able to use them or not. Virtual tables or remote tables, replication flows, data flows, and the so you got a warning, which means something is not working. Replication cannot be used because of the errors in connection. So that's fine, because our we should be getting this working as well. But right now, to start with, let me see. The source system doesn't support fast serialization. Okay. So let me switch off the connectivity. The fast serialization is an option that we enable. It could have been somewhere. Yeah. So for replication flows, this option is not okay. So every time you're changing it, you need to save
Yeah,
it.
principal propagation works here.
Sorry?
Principal propagation.
Principal propagation is the security, I guess. So where do you, I think somewhere I don't pay attention. Do you see here? Where is it?
I mean, because user ID password mostly uh, it's not allowed, right? So okay. Authentication type maybe instead of that you need to choose
Yeah,
OAuth.
you
Okay.
choose OAuth as well, right? So you can choose OAuth. So we have done OAuth authentications multiple times at least.
Yes.
So you generate a client ID, get the, but OAuth is mainly for cloud systems. That's what we are really doing the authentication. But you can use it for on-premise system. There's no, you can give a token endpoint skip. This is how you are anyway using the OAuth authentication for UI5 apps. All your UI5 apps are usually OAuth authentications with client ID setup and also scope and URL encoded and client ID and secret. I think at least we have done this 10 times.
With respect to user ID password, normally we create a technical user in S4 and that we use it, right? Instead
Yeah,
of
that is one
actual user.
option. Yeah, otherwise, so same. Otherwise, the other process, OAuth clients, you create a uh, OAuth client, and then like what we have done, system. Uh, I think it's in the, I guess here. So all these client IDs. So but you generate this in the source system, and then give it to the target application. In this case, it's target. Basically, what we needed is a client ID, secret, and authorization URL and token URL. That's what pretty much you need um, for
Got it,
all
got
the
it.
client credentials. I didn't set up this one, but yeah, if you are really looking for, you can do the OAuth client setup as well. Okay. Oh, I didn't select the other ones actually. So DP agent, this is done. Um, Think we missed the data provisioning agent as DP agent and then DSP TP agent. Um, Both off and then model transfer with S4 HANA transfer, all green, save it. Now it should be working fine, but still we didn't go in the right order. The prerequisites, there are two prerequisites for model transfer. One is live data tunnel connection and adjusting some cloud connector properties. I didn't show you, but I just gone ahead and then created this connection. In order to work this connection through the cloud connector needs another additional setting. I'll tell you why. Validating it just before. So validation is must, and then we will know if there are any errors in the connection with the validation. So all good, model valid, enable, and then model transfer is also enabled. So we are good with using this connection. But if you look at the documentation on what is required for setting up the model transfer connection, the first one is we have done live tunnel connection, which is good. Actually, you can go through this documentation. That's really going to help you. This is support. The first one is DP agent. So we don't have to do anything. We have done this DP agent setup and configure the ABAP adapter and then accessing as for HANA system for the source. This has been done in the very beginning. So prerequisite, this is being checked. Second one, live data connection tunnel. This is done, checked. So just now we created the live data connection. Uh, Third one, we don't have to, oh, we do have to, cloud connector public address is to be added in the data sphere. It's already done at the very beginning S4 HANA connection type. So you remember we have taken the IP address of cloud connector system and then allowed it in the data sphere allow list. So we're not doing it again for this one, but it's the same process that you have done in the past. The only difference that you have seen is live data connection. That's the only change. That's different from previous connection at this time. But that's at a very high level. And then after that, you come here and then start doing the connection. Whatever the options that we have seen while creating a connection, you can see fast serialization. They put it on, but really it wasn't going to work. So you can see all the options that we have seen for DP agent and also cloud connector setup and also the application server details like S/4HANA dev, client and system ID and etc. So that's going to be your um, connectivity. But there is one thing that we were really need to do in the cloud connector in order to make it working is HTTPS connectivity. So in the cloud connector, mm, going back to the documentation again, yeah, for model transfer, and then we start with live data connection, right? The first one. So in the live data connection tunnel, preparation for a cloud connector. First, in the cloud connector, we need to have a HTTPS connection because we never had an HTTP connection in the cloud connector. We always, in the past, what we had was RFC connection. In order to work with replication flows in the ABAP pipeline engine, we were using RFC connectivity to read the CDS views and extract the data into into datasphere as local tables, yeah, either replication flows or data flows. But what we wanted a special connect a resource is HTTPS. That's what we're going to do it now. Why it is required? I'll tell you. So, but you can see this is live data connection, and then we created this connection, and it's all passed. But setting up the live steps to HTTPS connection is going to be here. The purpose of this, yeah, so you can see HTTP connection above base systems is required. If you go back to the cloud connector for a moment, think it's in the remote system. Think it's for after a very long time we are going back to the cloud. If you remember the navigation, select the sub account first. This is your BTP sub account. Oh, not this one. I have a new one, TSP. In this sub account, I choose cloud on premises. I have I've created HTTPS for different time, but really in the past we just have TCP. This is for an SQL server on my local machine, and this is an RFC connection. This is what we have used in the past. And then you remember for DH is always going to be for ABAP pipeline engine replication management service for CDS views extraction through CDC, change data capture to DataSphere. And those functions with prefix as a wildcard have been allowed in the resource planning, resources allowability. And then that's what we configured for replication flows and data flows to work in DataSphere. Now we need an HTTPS connection for this. And then you can see the port is different. The RFC gateway port is different, and then HTTPS port is different. You can start creating an HTTPS port system. Just take a look at for HTTPs and HTTPS is secure protocol. So next, an internal host. Is this your internal host? You know that s4dev.st.com. That's your S4 HANA system. And port, as I said, 44321 is your HTTPS. 443 is general HTTPS and 21 is your system instance. Oh, it's good. Uh, so if your system instance is 01, which is most of the times, then it becomes 01. Okay. Since my system is having a port as 21, I keep it as 21. So next, virtual host. I can keep this same, but generally this is the logical system host that you can say map, you can define one thing, and then whatever the name that virtual host has got, all the respective internal hosts will be affected. I'll show you the importance of virtual host in a minute. So principal propagation is this one. This is where you define um, the authorizations propagation to the connectivity of the HTTPS connector. So we are not selecting it. And then next, the certificate. No, I don't need it. Host request header. Yeah, use virtual host. I'm not going to use internal host. That's the difference. I will use virtual host. I'll tell you the reason. And then system ID is S4D. And then description. I'm not keeping any description. Just leave it. Check internal host and then finish it. Okay, overlapping ranges, because since I already have one with the same things and it's complaining, you can't have one. So I'm going to remove it and then just go and show you the same one that I have already. Or I have to delete this one and then start using creating a new one. It doesn't matter, simple thing. So you can see the ABAP system, HTTPS protocol, virtual host, and internal host is also same. Basically, the setting use virtual host for this cloud connector is really what it is going to say. This is my virtual host, right? S4 dev. Wherever s4dev.st.com is being used as a virtual host, it is going to take the respective internal host depending on the situation. The situation could be using RFC connectivity sometimes. It could be using HTTPS connectivity sometimes. So I will use the same virtual host name, but internal host and port will be different for that. For example, if you look at the RFC here, my virtual host is same, but if you look at the internal host is also same, of course, but the port is different. So how does the system will get the host header information? By using internal virtual host. So it is the logical system name. From there, whatever provided in that particular host for the respective protocol is going to be taken depending on the situation where this particular connectivity is used. And again, anyway, this is administration part, so your basis people will take care of it. But in general, if you wanted to know, you can understand, but otherwise, you can ignore it. So that's how I use the virtual host. I'm checking the availability, it should be reachable. So once you have the HTTPS, I add two URL paths. Let me see what are those two URL paths here for HTTP connection. So they are going to explain you. Um, this is ABAP SQL service. I think if you would have remember, that is good. But otherwise, this is a new connectivity established for an on-premise system like S4HANA to have a remote table created without DP agent. This is a new service, ABAP SQL service, if you can recollect from the very beginning. Uh, in that case, HTTPS is required. And for BW model transfer and also S4HANA model transfer, the HTTPS connectivity is really needed. The protocol is HTTPS configuration steps. You got all the configuration steps that we just saw: HTTPS, internal host, virtual host. Click next, and then all the settings that we just saw, and check internal host and resources. We didn't add any resource. We didn't look at the resources. Resources you can try this. This is what actually the resource is all about. So you can plus for that particular RFC or HTTP connection, you can add the resources. These resources will tell you what kind of access you're going to have or what kind of services that you're going to. So when you say plus and then say for remote tables, you just need this URL path resource. You copy this privileged SAP BC SQL privilege and then allow it. Okay, so with that, you will be able to create a remote table in the target system using this HTTPS connectivity uh, in there. And then you also have live tunnel. The second option is for S4HANA model import live tunnel connection. You need the URL path forward slash. You need more privileges. That's why you put wide open forward slash at the root path. So that's what it is going to allow you to get the model live tunnel connection established. That's what I did it. So my second resource here, where is it? Is going to be forward slash. This gets the preference because it's wide open more than this one. So if you don't want this one, you just wanted remote tables, you will be okay with this one with the as a replacement to DP agent for the SQL Server's connectivity. I don't know if you remember that or not, but in the very beginning, we were using remote source. Anytime you wanted to create a remote table or remote virtual tables, you most of the times you need a DP agent. That's a pretty much. But the cloud connector also can be used by using HTTPS connectivity for remote table creation by allowing this service. That's what merely this documentation is talking about. But our case is more than that. We don't want just create a remote table from the using the SQL service connection. We wanted to do the modal transfer. That's when you need this resource availability with HTTPS connectivity. So you need both. So remote table, again, don't confuse with remote table of modal transfer. There is uh, um, remote table is um, can be created in using modal transfer also. That's totally different. The remote table that is going to get created with modal transfer is totally. The documentation this guy is talking about is the remote table directly. When you create an S4 HANA connection, right, you see remote table possible. That's what they were talking about. So when you create a connection, a remote table option is allowed, right? So that's what, without having a DP agent, you can create a remote table um, with the with this option. But for modal transfer, you need this one to be established. So that's what we did. So we added both resources so that you can use it as for the SQL Service connection as well as for modal transfer. Okay.
So, Shrikant,
Yeah.
so in this case, with respect to remote tables, the only disadvantage would be we we won't be able to replicate the data, right?
That is right.
Only
Yeah.
federation will
Yeah.
be possible. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the difference between DP agent and Cloud Connector. So we by using Cloud Connector HTTPS connection, you can use it only as remote table. You cannot do the replication and real-time subscription, whatever the more advanced features of DP agent, not advanced, but additional features of DP agent, you wouldn't be able to achieve with the HTTPS connectivity. It's an alternative to your DP agent in case if you see most of the time people go for DP agent is only for remote source only, virtual table only. They don't really replicate if there is a possible scenario of um, cloud connector replication. Now with the cloud connector HTTPS service connectivity, now you get that option, that privilege also possible in cloud connector through cloud connectors. So then you are simply removing the use of DP agent with this option. That's what pretty much to summarize. With this line, that second line, you simply remove DP agent from your landscape at all completely in the context of S4 HANA system. Um, yeah, for replications, you will use the RFC. Data flows and replication flows will work fine. For remote tables, you use HTTPS. Both are part of Cloud Connector, and then that leaves you to remove DP agent from your landscape.
So one more small question. I mean, sorry to go back,
Yeah.
but do we have any that count or limitation for the number of records if we go for the remote tables federation or the virtual access?
In this, is it in the context of Cloud Connector or DP agent or
No,
general? In general,
in general, DP agent, for example.
DP agent is much advanced. No, I wouldn't call advanced, but more sophisticated because of the maturity it has for a very long time, at least for 8 years. It started with HANA 1.sp7 or 6. Very at least 8 years it's been. It had got many improvements done to the agent to use it as a virtual table and federation, data federation. There is no, yeah, DP agent performance tuning and agent parameters and different from each adapter. ABAP adapter has some configurations and SQL reader has some limitations. It's very generic question. Adapter specific configurations need to be made, and they are totally different from one adapter to another adapter. Example, SQL adapter, SQL Server adapter versus IBM DB2 adapter versus ABAP adapter has totally different uh, configuration acceptancy.
Okay, but
Yeah,
where do you see? I mean, we have DP agent and adapter.
yeah.
So we wanted to have some checklist like if certain number of records are there, we won't go for federation, we will go for replication or replication flow.
That
So I mean, I was looking for that number.
no, yeah, they wouldn't give.
Mhm.
You get performance sizing for DP agent and sizing for t-shirt sizing for DP agent for DP agent t-shirt sizing.
Right. Mhm. We have
Uh,
a small
Small,
t-shirt size.
medium, yeah.
Mm.
That's the maximum they give, and on top of that, yeah. So they there is no say, okay, this is the record size. Then you can go because it contains some various other things. Your DP agent, let's say you can have a DP agent with 16 GB memory installed, and then running on your landscape, and then you got the same records. And then compared to the machine where you got DP agent with 64 GB or 128 GB. So it doesn't matter, record count is doesn't matter, right? So your 128 GB DP agent can process easily 10 million records, where 16 GB cannot process even 1 million records. So there is no such direct role saying that, yeah, I get this question very often that by not looking at other parameters of DP agent server processing and other system configurations, you cannot just simply say what is the record count that is good for processing this and etc. Because let's say if you're especially on S4 HANA on DP agent t-shirt sizing performance. Yeah, this is there somewhere, and I think I should has SAP help documentation. Oh yeah, that's actually SAP help. Come on. I think this is going to be in this only. So somewhere in this small, medium, yeah, so something like that. Um, Up to 40 tables, like a weighted table size category, install load of tables balanced based on SAP HANA target capacity more than 1.5 million per hour. Um, this is a use case, approximate. This is, they give you very approximate numbers. Large, 6 different source systems, up to 300. So if, let's say if you take a large DP agent configuration, you can have 3264 CPUs, 96 GB of memory. Disk space is very good, uh, and then it can have a lot of um, power to process your data, right? So modification rate is also, I have some more documentation around modification rate. This is also another important factor. How many records changed per hour, how many records being processed per hour is actually modification rate is all about. So you need to consider modification rate, um, systems, adapter, and the power. That all these two things together, it varies from one configuration to another configuration. So there isn't any one rule for sizing. Okay. Yeah, high volume. if you have source tables with a high volume modification rate, which is simply AC doc K, 5 million record per hour, we recommend you create a separate remote source and ensure near-time replication is there. So so it's all depending on your modification rate is what you go through a little bit more on the modification rate to get some, and also there is a sizing guide here. um, you can go more deeper into understanding. It's actually there's no, you cannot directly simply say okay, 5 million records from AC dock is coming, then whether I should persist or remove or do the virtual table. There's no direct rule. You just do it with your configurations and balance it, and then try say, oh, this is not working out, then go for replication. Okay. Yeah, I attached this documentation in case if you are interested in the, oh, sorry, where is it? Think I lost it. Okay, I guess I came into the, oh yeah, here. Okay. Okay, so we really, the topic, we are not really looking at remote source option in this case, right? So remote source is being discussed at the very beginning, and then it's an alternative for virtual table creation. We are really worried about model transfer, or our interest is model transfer. So the HTTP connection that we are building is for model transfer. I mean, it can be used for the remote source virtual table as well, but our objective is here for model transfer. So let me put that DP agent win quickly since I have already added. Okay. Sizing. Okay. All good. Then let's go back to the model transfer. Oh yeah. So the configurations are done now. So HTTPS connectivity has been done. So why do we need to do a HTTPS connectivity? So if you look at this here, the other picture, model transfer. So you need DP agent, you need cloud connector, and cloud connector, you need HTTP connectivity for model transfer. This in the case of BW4 HANA, again, also in the S4 HANA. So in case of BW4 HANA, you you will have to add another resource. Um, so A, B, C, right? For HTTPS connectivity, A, oh, sorry, A is remote tables, not in the scope for today's session, but at least B for S4 HANA model, and then C for BW4 model. So you will have to add these values if yours is BW4 system. In BW4 system, not in BW4 system, in Cloud Connector, you add these all the resources. In the case of your model transfer is going to be for BW4. That's the only difference. Otherwise, it's exactly the same. Um, if you find any errors of HTTPS connection in the backend system not reachable, um, any certificates and anything, you have this node, but I don't have any issues. I was able to establish the HTTPS connectivity in the cloud connector, and then I tested it, it is reachable. Okay, so my cloud connector setup is completed. And then I can go back to the documentation, and then that's what merely live data connection is all required. So to summarize your steps, um, live tunnel connection and cloud connector with HTTPS protocol, DP agent configuration, and S4HANA connection with cloud connector and DP agent and live tunnel connection all together. And then test the connection. We tested it already or validate the connection. It's not required, it's not a new step, but when you validate it, and then it should be okay. So any question in the connection setup? We're going to import the data now, the connection. Okay, all good. Now then next step is there are other prerequisites to be met or to be done in S4HANA system in order to the import to be working. But I'll come back to this one after I go through the demo part. So the demo is going to be how do we do the model import. So whether it is a BW or S4, it doesn't matter. The process is same. As shown in the short video from the SAP presentation, you're going into the semantic onboarding. Choose your SAP source system. If it is BW, choose BW4. If it is on S4 on-premise, choose S4 on-premise. And then select the connections that I'm going to select the connection that I just created, model transfer. Oh, these are other two are for regular connectivities, not for model transfer. So model transfer you do from this navigation window, whether it is a BW bridge, BW4 or S4 HANA. Otherwise, you always go to the data builder and start creating remote tables, virtual replication flows and data flows and etc. Only model transfer, the fourth object in any connection is done from this place. So we got by default, this is the option. I'm going to say remote tables, and then say next. If the connection is working, then you will get a window to select CDS views from the source, which is your S4HANA. If it is a BW4 HANA system, you will see all the queries, Bex queries that were shown in the previous demo, just beginning of this today's session. You will see different, and you have more modeling patterns here. In case of BW system, you see analytical cube and analytical query, but you got more options to be filtered. So you got items like all these ones. Most of the times we work with either a dimension or a fact. Um, if you're GL line items, you go with fact, but if you wanted to start with a dimension, so I go with dimension. Look for any dimension like business partner, company code, or anything. Um, I'm going to do, I will search for I company code. If it is the right name, I get it. Search it. I will get the result. Select it. This is released. Okay, so C1 contract released. That's good for extraction. Um, so this is the model transfer, similar to what BW was doing. Same thing. Ready for import. You will all the dependent objects that what we saw for BW system. If you're running it for a query, all the dependent objects will be also taken into consideration. And ready to import, ready for import, then start employ. Then the import process will start. I don't know which space I selected. If I don't think I must have, it was in the left hand side when I was doing it. Let me go back and see uh, the data builder. I guess it is IT central. If not, I will come back to the central space. I don't remember what space I've selected. So if you selected this particular, um, then you will be getting that remote model directly coming here. I don't remember. Maybe it's not coming, which me. Oh yeah, here company code remote S4 HANA model transfer. It's pending status. So as soon as it is finished, you can just refresh or do the open it. It's fine. That's the remote object name. dimension standard, and you can see all the semantics also coming from source object. This is the serious view technical name. This is the SQL view name. IF company code. $P is for attributes. $F for facts. You would have known this one. It's anyway serious context of ODP. That's what we are using because remote table is going to go through the DP agent. Then remote table and everything. You can see data. No, I think here you got start data replication because it is going to be this remote option is for DP agent through the DP agent, not for the because you are able to do it because it is coming through DP agent. We've used DP agent as well. If you're using only model cloud connector service, then you would not get these options for that particular remote source that is coming through not coming through the DP agent. So go to the remote and then attributes. So I'll look over the data from the data. Same thing. It's you get everything up, appearing here. Okay, so for the facts, you will be able to get the semantics of associations. You can try if there is an association for a company code or not. So really speaking, the model transfer should get your associations also transfer. So I don't see an association in this one. So we'll have to really follow up on why it is not getting the association. So troubleshoot this one company code, and then if there are any associations in company code dimension, and then that should get you required objects as well to the list, and then those ones also need to be imported. So we'll troubleshoot. We'll look at what gone behind, but this is a process to go and start using model transfer for a dimension or a fact series view from S/4HANA system. The most important and then the complex part is now replication flow. I tried number of times and then I couldn't get a lot of time to do this working because of the complexity in the configurations in S/4HANA. I don't have right support from S/4HANA system people because it's not in my control. So basically the complexity is not in the model transfer, but the complexity is in the configurations in S/4HANA system itself. So it has to be S/4HANA 756 more than that. And even for this one, there are two prerequisites that need to be met. Otherwise, when you do the model transfer, you will get an error. So important prerequisite is to run the SE38 program. And then you will be able to do the remote table. So let's say, just take a look at this one. I didn't show you this because I already ran it so that you don't see the error. If you do it for the first time so you get this one, connection validation error. I didn't get any validation error. It was all good but if you're doing it for the first time, virtual table empty and model import. You get this message. The model import feature shows error virtual table importing CSN is empty. For that, select the connection and validate reproducing it. Cause is prerequisites of the features are not met. CSN metadata is not provisioned in the source SAP HANA system. So in order to provision that, you will have to run this program. Report SE38. It's going to take at least an hour or so in case if you're running it for the first time. Your entire data is going to be copied to the CSN, core data service notation form. So you give a series. if you wanted to do it one, or if you just run it wide open, it's going to run for every CDS in the system, which is going to take a lot of. So convert CDS model to CSN model for DWC input or DataSphere input. This is a prerequisite to be met. That's one thing. Anyway, I put this one in the. And authorization on ESH service. Your user is not authorized to this service, then you may also get this error. In those cases, you will have to apply this note. While validating the connection for model import, user is not authorized to access service, then you will talk to resolution, all the required steps. In particular, make sure the checkbox save this credential for all users in the system. So if you don't select this one in the tunnel connection, you will be getting this error. So make sure you save this credential for all users in the system so that you can avoid this problem, this error, authorization error. Okay. But all the prerequisites, you can find it in 30819, another note, 3081998. Metadata import of CSN entities from S4HANA on-premise edition to SAP DataSphere Cloud, central initial node. This is a robust central node that you will need all the prerequisites to be met. Required. This is one. So solution. This has to be basis, and this has to be run. Correction. It's a lot of actually there are many things that you may have to really worry about depending on the system. Provision CSN metadata. This is what we have run report. I've run the most important ones that are required to at least go ahead and do it. And procedure for connecting your S4HANA on-premise system to DataSphere technical user, and then required authorizations. Yeah, you will need an authorization on the authorization object as service, and then field this service and then service type. This authorization has to be maintained in somewhere in PFCG roles and then given to you. Otherwise, you will get errors. So I find difficulties because I wouldn't be able to do as an administrator because I have limited authorizations in the system. So if you have right authorizations, this note and good support from basis or administrator, you will be able to configure it fine, and then you will be able to work without having any issues for all the DP agent setup. And also we have done all these things. Live connection, we didn't have any issues. On-premise connection, we have done nicely. We have done DP agent connectivity nicely. And everything validation is also nice. Only this one is also we were able to do it. Some cases, any case we fail somewhere, then it must be somewhere authorizations only. Somewhere one of the prerequisite was gone, and then that could have gone wrong. So let's try that. So until this part, we were okay. So we were able to proceed, and then we can either do for transactional data set or also master data set. We have selected the remote table, and then we are now going to select a replication flow to local tables. This is going to be a challenge now. This is the consolidated node. You never know it's going to work or not. Let's try this one. This is the last step for DataSphere connectivity model transfer. So now I'm going to do a model. I'll do the same thing for company code itself. Let's see. Yeah. So same thing, semantic onboarding as for HANA on-premise. I don't want this to be in the, I can see 3. I put the space as this one. And then as for model transfer, oh, come on. All good. Then replication flow to local table. Now I'm looking at data access as replication flow through the replication flow. So next. I will get the same window like last time for remote thing. Next step. Why didn't it come? Yeah. So I can select all the you see all the modeling patterns like last time. You can filter it to choose only the required ones like analytic dimensions here. We'll do cost center or same. It's okay. I can do company code again. Next step, unable to load objects to import. Yeah, so 40, this API is not working. HTTPS 404, it is at authentication. So somewhere 404 is unauthorized. That's what let me just clarify that once again. HTTP 404 error code. Oh, web page is not found. It's not unauthorized. So it was not able to find the resources to load this into this window. So one of the prerequisites was missing. So what prerequisite? I couldn't really troubleshoot because of, as I said, this node is the consolidated node, and then there are many things inside. I was able to do to the extent that I can understand most of it. Unable to load objects, HTTPS 500 error is expected when you do the replication flow to local table. But the reason and prerequisites, a central configuration is from 30819998 is to be clearly followed. Anything that is missing could be reason for HTTPS 500 or 404 errors. Datasphere version has to be correct. 2024 must be that is okay. Backend has to be 756. I didn't check this one. It has to be S4 HANA 2021. Not sure what I have got. Basis release 756 or not. Connection configuration prerequisites also to be met properly. Everything, once you have everything done, then this will work. Otherwise, it's going to fail. Okay. So it doesn't have to be 756, for example, my system. Let's say the guy, what I got maybe or may not be. This one, as for dev, just product details. Basis 7.8, okay, which is okay. At least 7.58 is my version. Is greater than 5.6, which is okay. So this is also okay. This is also must be okay because I have 2025. Must be in one of the gateway prop issues or somewhere. Okay, anyway, so enough of that. But understand that if you are able to follow this entire node, this error will be gone. Unable to load object error will be gone. But I couldn't manage it to get it working. In case when I get a chance to make it working, I will record it and put it in a supplement sessions later in the game. Okay, so any questions so far on this model import from S4 HANA and BW4 HANA? Okay, so if not, then we move on to a couple of other small topics like BW bridge. So in the same context of model transfer, we got also BW bridge. Right? So I think we touched upon this BW bridge topic some time ago in the context when we were going through certain other topics in BDC. I will quickly go through or recap what we discussed on that particular session, and then if you have any questions, you can let me know. So got options for BW bridge here. from BW7, 4, anything can go to BW Bridge. Then BW Bridge is a ABAP on cloud support system. So you can access that Eclipse. You can access through Eclipse system, and you can start creating objects on ABAP on cloud, which is a steampunk support for wrap under any other ABAP on cloud developments for S/4HANA Cloud. So same technology is being used for the behind the scenes for BW Bridge on cloud. BW Bridge is totally completely on cloud. It's managed by SAP. Okay. The reason your options. You go to the DataSphere completely without worrying about your BW system. Completely remove your BW system. Go ahead. Or go with BW Bridge for some time and then slowly migrate from BW Bridge to the DataSphere core, or have DataSphere with BW4 HANA as hybrid scenario. This is what we just saw, a model transfer with BW4, so that you can leverage BW4 objects. And DataSphere with BW Bridge. I think it's the same, but different conversion, greenfield and shell conversion, but same option. And then this is actually having BW Bridge and BW4 HANA. It's just not at all So the only option that is recommended or good could be seen as another alternative for having DataSphere with BW together is hybrid model with remote transfer, or having a connection set up between BW4 to DataSphere. So you got model transfer just now as we saw, or direct connectivity from BW4 to DataSphere, and then start using traditional classic replication objects or replication flows and data flows and etc. That is another option. But really speaking, you don't want to do a persistency of replication flows or data flows. Instead, you can do a model transfer so that you get the objects created automatically in BW system, and then you can leverage them in DataSphere core, and then you can prepare SAC stories on top of it. That's one. But data resides in BW4 only. You don't have to transfer the data. Uh, um, the reason understand what makes your SAP BW complex drivers as we talked about, and BW query is a real complex solution. These complex drivers make your BW system so much valuable and important not to knock out. And if you're really having these complex drivers in your project, don't think about BW Bridge. You can think about having BW Bridge. Also, at the same time, you'll have to plan for a better alternative solution at the same time. So instead, it's better not to go for BW Bridge. For example, BW query. You cannot create BW queries or in the BW Bridge. With that, you will have to find an alternative option like SAC or somewhere, not SAC, DataSphere analytic models, and then consume them in SAC. If you are unable to achieve whatever BW query was able to do in DataSphere analytic models, and you got a belief or strong feeling that BW analytic model, sorry, DataSphere analytic model is not compete enough to satisfy your requirements, to fulfill your requirements, then don't go to BW Bridge, because you don't have alternative to create your BW functionalities of queries in DataSphere. Non-ODP data sources, but the roadmap for BW query is clearly an analytic model. There is not going to be any change or small change going to come to the BW query or BEX query in future. Everything will go in DataSphere analytic model. So if you happen to be in the right direction, yeah, you can choose to have BW Bridge and the same time early adoption to the DataSphere analytic models, so that you have alternative to create a BW queries in analytic model, or do model transfers as long as you can do, as we talked about, and then start slowly developing analytic models instead of BW queries. and then do a model transfer. Instead of doing that, you can directly do. That is a preferred option instead of directly going to BW Bridge, which doesn't have a query option. I mean to say, you never know, right? Tomorrow you get a strong complex requirement to create a query, a BEX query or BW query. If you are already on BW Bridge, you will not have an option because your data sphere may not be able to do that with analytic model. And that's when your BW4 HANA system come into place, and then you will be having a nice legacy interface to create your objects, and then you can do model transfer on that. So this is right option in the many cases. And non-ODP source systems. In BW Bridge, you can only have source system for ODP context, not for any other. So all your integrations have to happen to DataSphere directly. In case if you cannot do it and you got a case where you wanted to retain your BW system connectivity for non-ODP sources, you wouldn't be able to plan your, this is okay. You can easily, I mean, by today, you can still do it because DataSphere is allowing almost every non-ODP data sources by far all the time. So this is okay. You can plan by with a confidence that even though I go for BW Bridge, my DataSphere can have non-ODP data sources connectivity without having any challenges. Open up destination. This is also somewhat okay because you can replace the open up destinations. Though BW Bridge doesn't have them, replication flows will take care, but it is not okay because of the money that you're going to need to pay for premium outbound integration as part of replication flows. So you do have some challenges in replacing open hub destinations from BW because BW Bridge doesn't have open hub destination, and they purposefully removed it to market replication flows. APDs, no. Again, alternative is replication flows. Go with that. Planning and consolidation. There is no support for planning and consolidation with BW Bridge. You'll have to go for SEC. Mixed modeling. Again, you cannot do mixed modeling in BW Bridge. It has to be done inside data sphere HANA cloud only. All your BW underlying HANA models of BW will not work if you go with BW Bridge. So plan that in any case, if you wanted to go build calculation views, you must prepare early in a way that you will be doing those calculation views in DataSphere HANA Cloud, not the BW HANA Cloud, because BW Bridge doesn't support. Rather, you stay on BW4 HANA and create native HANA mixed models nicely and then do a model transfer. This is going to work fine if you're but not BW Bridge. So all these limitations make your decision not to go with this. Is from SAP decision making approach. If you have a complex drivers, yes, hybrid BW4 HANA and DataSphere is the best approach. If you don't have a complex drivers, go for BW Bridge. This is not going to happen most of the cases. I would say you either go with BW4 HANA DataSphere mixed approach or BWR PCE or direct direct DataSphere core migration by integrating data to S4HANA system directly as your source. We have seen all these options in the past. So you also have model transfer for BW. It's a special connection type. So in the model transfer, when we looked at the model transfer, you can do for BW Bridge also. So for that HTTP ABAP connection, just like the way what we and smart data connection to retrieve the data from BW. So the remote tables and model transfers are supported. No support for replication flows. Only this is supported in S4HANA the way that we saw just now. But all the time remote tables. So you go to create a remote table just like the way what we created remote table for S4HANA tables. So by using BW Bridge connection, you'll set up a remote table generated for your source object like ADS source. And then you will have all the analytic models, graphical views created on top of it. Import it to DataSphere space, and you can import into BW bridge. There is a dedicated BW bridge space as well. You can do both options. The difference is going to be if you're in BW bridge space as part of DataSphere code client and a dedicated connection is established, you don't have to create a connection. It's just a BW bridge of type DataSphere. This connection is different from other connection. Like it can be created. You can't make a change, or it's created by default by system or SAP you can call, and you get it when you subscribe to BW bridge capacity units for your subscription. Okay. Another one is customer defined space. You create a space for your explicit like this. If you see here, this is not a BW bridge space. This is BW bridge space, and you can either choose to import it into BW bridge space or directly to your DataSphere space. Both options you have. It differs because this connection resides are created automatically when you got a provision. I mean, it mean to say you don't have to have a BW bridge space. That's what merely talks about. You can direct BW bridge is a full system, a BW system on site. You got it here. In both cases, you got it here. And then you can establish the connection to the spaces that are part of your data sphere, whether a BW bridge space or a direct custom space like what we did IT Central. Yeah.
So just a quick question. So what you're saying is BW Bridge is a separate system itself where we can replicate or sorry, we can do the remote tables, and from there again we will have
Yeah.
a connectivity to data sphere.
Yeah, it's a separate system like BW system on cloud.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a separate system. You create info objects, you create composite providers, ADSOs, everything. What you do it in BW system, you will be doing it in BW bridge as well.
So what's the, sorry, I mean, maybe I'm not clear. I did not understand. So what's the main purpose of BW Bridge? It's supposed to be used to transfer from on-premises system into data sphere, right? That's the main idea, right?
Yeah, it's a kind of suddenly you cannot move to data sphere, right? That's greenfield is not possible. So they are giving a bridge to transition slowly by coming to the cloud system. They are asking you to come to the cloud system so that they can have a better integration with data sphere. By bringing your BW bridge system to data sphere along with cloud system. And then they said they can build a better integration if your system is on cloud, but they didn't do any good job there in giving a better integration from BW bridge to even for that matter they are giving more features in the BWPC, the private recently added private cloud edition, as part of um, what is that called, BDC. So they are trying to and the BWPC is more sophisticated and you don't have any of the challenges that we talked just now.
Okay.
There's no such challenges in BW. So by keeping the cost separate, factor separate, then if you have to choose between BWPC versus BW bridge, 100% choice is BWPC. If you're really looking at the cost, then rather you go with BW4, not to go with the cloud itself, and then nobody will go and sit in between like BW bridge.
Yeah.
So either you go no cost effect, which is going to be your BW4 on premise, and then have model transfer and then live and get hit with your cost and effective benefit, or you spend some more money on BWPC as part of BDC with capacity units, and then make your path to cloud journey as soon as possible. It all depends, cost versus factor, but BW bridge never is not a better choice now. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, see, but they also gave transformation flows, delta capture from ADSOs and everything. They tried a lot of things at the time to get better, but now this is not going to be anymore. You got data product generator with delta capability from ADSOs, which you can replace and get over with this feature, this one, right? So currently you got BW product generator that would as part of BWPC that can have a deltas generated from DSOs, ADSOs to the datasphere space as part of BW product data product generator, and that can send the deltas as well to the transformation flows into the datasphere system. So yeah, the things may not be really required. You have the use case, otherwise the SAP extractors, right? If you're having a source system as S4 HANA on premise, serious extractors, no problem. They can go to DataSphere core directly. If your extractor is happen to be SAP extractor, then they cannot directly go to the DataSphere in case if they are delta loads with primary keys enabled for those things. That's why the B blue dot is not supported. That's when you will go A and then to DataSphere, especially the ECC extractors. SAP extractor for delta loads shouldn't be connected to DataSphere core directly. But you don't have to do. Now you got BWPC, you can. But eventually when ECC extractors, SAP extractors for all will go away, it will become serious view based extractors, then anyway, this will be direct. The use case of this this side will be completely gone because DataSphere core can have serious views, serious extractors, everything with delta capabilities coming in here, and this will anyway phase out. Whether it is a BWPC or BW bridge, anyway it will be phased out as S4 HANA Cloud coming up with more serious extractors in the future. Right, so it's only whether it's a BW bridge or BWPC, it's temporary thing for an year, 2 years, you never know, unless they get better in the S4 HANA series extractors. Until I mean to say. Okay, that's about BW bridge or BWPC. We talked about as part of PDC. Any other questions here?
Srikant, if you don't mind, can you repeat the the quick explanation that you gave the diagram that was showing on the screen? I just stepped away for a couple of minutes, so I could not follow. I'm sorry about that.
No, this is your system as for on our in the context of SAP extractors. It is in the context of serious view based extractors.
Okay.
So SAP extractors cannot directly, if especially if they are delta, you cannot directly load them to
Okay.
DataSphere. Replication flows wouldn't work in this case. That's why it is a dotted line.
Okay.
But eventually, I'm saying it will be replication flows that will support deltas as your data sources will be not SAP extractors, SAPI extractors. It will be serious extractors eventually. So your RMS, RDB will work in the future. This will be completely, this side itself will be gone completely.
Thank you.
Okay. And the today's last topic is going to be business content and custom data product creation. Okay. So actually, the topic is going to be data products. We looked at some data products in the past as part of BDC. Now we're going to understand a little more, not little more, a different context of those data products. Let me just stop it and then put it in another topic to separate this.